Here we go. This is a right rear frame rail made by Auto Metal Direct and supplied to us by Classic Industries. We've actually got this 2-piece trunk floor from Classic Industries. Now for the moment of truth. I cut this frame rail and really need just right about in this area is what I'm actually going to cut. But I'm going to use all this extra right here. That way I'll have plenty of extra room to mess with, and whenever I can fit it up in the car, get a better idea of what I need to cut out. You go ahead and start the bolts and I'll wiggle up in there. That should be, as long as it's sitting on the lip, it'll be okay. Close. I don't know how much more I can cut out of the... So what you just saw was Dad and I actually fitting the frame rail to fit in the car. And what I ended up doing is, you saw I cut the rail, and I cut it long. I cut it long on this end, that way it would actually slide inside the rail, and then I was able to get it very close. And we bolted it in the back here where the original bumper actually bolts in. You can see those 2 bolts right there. And then we took it back out, and I cut it once more, and on that line, it sat right in there. And it's very close, and it'll work. So we'll be able to weld that in. And all I have to do now, clean up the metal around here, or around the rail on each side, and we'll actually weld some more than what the factory did to make it look a lot nicer. But I'll just pull you up under here and let you look and see where the original rail meets up with the new one. So it's very close, and it fits very nicely. Once we got that cut where we wanted to, that's easy weld. That'll be perfect. And we'll have to spot weld this little tab right here. We'll spot weld that back in. That's the cross support. But once it's everything said and done, it's gonna look awesome. So after I finished up that weld, I took and just smoothed it out with a grinder, because I'm not a good welder. So I think, honestly, looks really good. And I have no reason to believe that would not hold up well, and I feel comfortable with it. So it goes to show that this stuff is doable, and you take your time and clean it up, do the right thing, you make a lot of things happen. So that frame rail is done. It's in there. So we'll prep it, put a little bit of paint on it, keep it from rusting, and then we'll clean up the rest of this rail where all this undercoating is from the factory. So we got some spot welds up here, and then I actually added a couple of welds down there on the bottom side. That way, because there's a little support that runs up under here, but I wanted to add some extra weld just right in this area, just for an extra little bit of support. And I don't see why it wouldn't. The factory didn't do that, but I did it just to be on the safe side, because you never know. And it doesn't hurt to add more weld than the factory did, and that'll stiffen up a lot. So I feel pretty good about it. I feel very confident with the way it turned out, and I think it's going to hold just fine. So for this trunk latch support, it's actually rusted really bad on the bottom. So I want to replace it, but I don't want to damage any of the metal up here that I have to weld the new one to. So a really handy thing to have is a spot weld drill bit. I'll get you a close-up of this so you can see it better. But this thing is really nice whenever you want to retain a piece of metal and remove another piece. That way I don't damage anything up here, but I can remove this spot without having to hurt anything. Just like that, it come right off. And we'll clean this up. There's a little bit of metal left, but it came right off. Another thing that's rusted out is gas tank supports. They run up under the pan itself, and then they spot welded the pan. So I ordered 2 new one of these because they are just absolutely trashed. And I don't want to weld all this to a new pan, because look, there's some spots right here and all that, and where actually the tank mounts had some rusted on the other one. But yeah, this thing is pretty much done for. I could have reused it. I could have fixed that one little spot, but hey, why not? So now I've kind of reached a dilemma. So you can see here, that's the original frame rail over here. So I've scraped away the undercoating on it, and you see original paint. Same thing with the wheel well. So I'm thinking that I may just put some new undercoating on this spot right here that I've scraped off, and then clean all the dirt off of this, maybe with a pressure washer or something, and get it where it's clean, and then hit it with a coat of black. Because I think that, as you can tell, this is original paint here, and this undercoating is doing a great job of keeping this rust free. I mean, all this you just saw me scrape off, and there's no rust on it. No more. Oh hey, free tools. Sweet. Now I can tear this car apart. Alright, so I'm still cutting on this quarter extension, and on the outside of the car, like right here, there's an emblem that says Challenger. This side has it, but the other side does not. So when I peeled this sucker back, found this right here. So I guess we have both emblems now. How convenient. I actually have another one just in case, I had a spare, but now we have an extra Challenger emblem, or the one that actually came on the car. I guess what happened, they glue on, so I guess it fell off. They stuck it in the trunk, and they got stuck down here behind the extension. So, hey, we're a Challenger. Confirmed. And this is why I cut it out. All this stuff right here is what will make your quarter panel rust. All that junk getting trapped down in there. I've got brand new extensions from Classic Industries, so I figured rather than patch up here, I noticed, hey, this is pretty rusty down here, but that's why. The stuff gets trapped in there, and then if it ever gets wet, it can never dry out because there's a plug that goes here. So as soon as that sucker gets wet, it's going to stay wet. So finish cutting the rest of this thing out. So now that we have everything cleaned up, I've got some POR 15 right here. What I'm going to do is just get all this right here with instruction safe for a rusty surface, clean it up, and make it dust-free, grease-free, and that's what I've done. Knocked all the dirt and dust off of it. And you can see all this was bare metal right here, and then I sprayed it with some weld-through primer. So I'm just going to focus on this area up here just to keep it from rusting eventually, whenever we have something in there. So to pair with our split floor pan, Classic Industries sent me these quarter extensions that'll go with the Challenger. Now what this does, it actually will join up to the trunk floor itself, and then it connects to the bottom side of the quarter you can see here. So what I'll have to do here is, you just saw me cut out the old one. So I'm going to go through and drill holes along where there will be spot welds, and then we'll fit it to get in the car. Now doing it this way, I won't have to do a lot of trimming, a lot of unnecessary work to make it work. Now I did cut out the floor pans because I was only replacing what was necessary, but on something like this, it's just best to go ahead, if you can, replace it all, because my quarter panels are actually very nice, like right up behind the wheel. They're still very nice, and I was very impressed. And a lot of the rust was just in the extension itself, so rather than cut and fix and whatever, do all that kind of garbage, I just decided let's just cut it all out and then make a brand new one. So once we get these in, it'll join up very nicely with our floor pan, and then when we get all that together, the trunk pan will be brand new. It's close. I'll do a little bit of movement and work around, get it where it needs to sit, but it's very close. So this is a really awesome feeling to be able to see this trunk pan all sitting in there with our extensions where they need to be on both sides. So we've got them all test fit. They're all just clamped in there, so nothing's been welded just yet. And just ignore that middle seam right there. Don't have anything to weigh it down in the middle, but when you press down on it, you can see that it'll actually start to line up. When we get there, we'll be able to push it down. But anyway, the first step though, I wanted to get all these in here so that I could see and make sure my extensions were in the right spot. And then what I'll do is I'll take these two out and then weld this side and weld this side. Go. The bottom side's finished up. Well, heck. I think I took Vice Grip Garage a little bit too literal. We're permanent. Oh. You didn't see those. There it is. Passenger side's done, welded in. You saw me do the driver's side earlier. Everything's good to go. So that only took about a couple hours to paint all this right here. You see I did this back support bar for the bumper, and then inside the cross bracing in black, and that really looks good. So you see I did the frame rails all in black over here and over there. Still need to touch up on the inside, but you know, I wanted to take a break and show you guys what I've been doing. So under the car we had the same story. I did all this right up in here. You can see where here's the frame rails. I did all this, all the underside, and honestly it looks really good. You know, just a little paintbrush and some time and you can do a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, I did all this right here and I stopped right there. You can see kind of about in this area, stop right here, and that's because I wanted to get what I had to do to get the rear axle back in and paint everything that would be out of the way. So, and I can't really get under the car without lifting the front up any higher, so we'll do that when the car's back on the ground safely, and then I'll pick the front up. But I just wanted to get everything that would be accessible with the rear end out of the way. So you can see it looks really good. I'm very impressed by how much nicer it looks just with a little bit of paint, and this stuff will hold up and keep it from rusting any further. If you're in the market for something like this, I definitely recommend it. I'm not sponsored by them, but I can really stand behind their product. And a couple tips and tricks: do not spread it on too thick. Go with a thin coat at first because it'll keep it from dripping, and don't get it on your skin because it will not come off hardly. It is very hard to get out of your hair. Ask me how I know, but don't get it in your eyes and try not to get it on yourself. So wear gloves and all you can. But that's it for painting. I'm going to call it quits for now. I'm going to go back and touch up on the spots that I missed. Later on, let it dry and harden, and then we'll come back and visit it. But now, after all this is done, we can actually go in and put our floor pan in. And that was the whole goal of this thing. Do all this stuff while the floor's out so we can see. And now we can weld a floor pan in. So today's done. Thank goodness. You know, that was a long, long work day today. Started out here about 8:30, and it's currently 8:49 if you can see that. We have been out here for about 12 hours. And I did take time to eat lunch, but again, 12 hours today. And that's not uncommon for a car like this. That's what we got to do. So when you guys wonder, you know, what takes so long to make these videos, why do I have to wait? Why do you guys have to wait so long to get a new installment? It's because it takes so much effort, so much time to do this stuff, you know. And that's just me having to set up the camera and then cut, measure, make sure that everything's right. And you want to see struggle. Pulling out those old extensions was a struggle to make sure I didn't tear up the outside quarter panel. That was stressful, but we got it done, and we got the new ones in and working to get the whole back side of the car finished up. Thank goodness. We've really made a lot of progress today. So again, thank you for being patient. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave a comment. I actually started a new Facebook page. It'll be in the description below. You can go on there, submit your vehicle, your project, as well as have a discussion with like-minded people. You know, people like me, people just like you. It's been a lot of fun talking with a lot of you guys and seeing a lot of your projects. So if you haven't already, go join that group. I'm approving as fast as I can. So make sure you're a part of that because it's an awesome little group, little community. And order your t-shirts and your stickers. This one's been a little bit worse for wear. My jacket and my shirt, I mean, they've turned brown. They were black, but now they're brown. But hey, so whatever. It's what you got to do. And just ignore this face thing going on. Like I said, I've been under this car for 12 hours today getting the stuff done. But hey, we're making progress, and I love it. I'm so excited to see that floor pan finally go back in the car after all this time. And it's going to look better than ever, and we're going to have a functioning floor pan, and it'll look awesome. The car is going to look great when it's all said and done, and I can't wait. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that great stuff. Without you, none of this would be possible. So every single one of you, I appreciate from the bottom of my heart. You guys are just a great fan base, and you've always been very supporting and very encouraging of what we're doing here. Regardless if you agree with what's going on, you guys are still very understanding, and you enjoy what's going on, and I enjoy making these videos for you. So without you, none of this would be possible. So again, that's it. I'm going to bed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.